This video is brought to you by Law Excellence IAS Academy.
Dear students, good morning. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 26th March 2019. The first article, the point of having democracy. So here the author discusses about the ends of the democracy. So demos means people. The author says people and their improved living standards. Those are the objectives of the democracy. How can these improved living standards can be achieved? By raising the capabilities of the people. How can we raise the capabilities? By providing them with necessary education, necessary health, and basic income to the people. So it means that India has to improve its ranking in human development, and it can be reflected in rising of the capabilities of the citizens. Next, now once the capabilities are raised, are they are sufficient? Simultaneously, the economic system also shall give them the necessary opportunities. It means jobs or employment shall be created. But in today's liberalized economy, can we provide for the employment, or can the state directly influence the employment? No. Then what the state can do? Still, the macroeconomic reins are in the hands of the state itself. It can direct the private sector investments. Also, it can ensure that the people intensive industries are being more focused upon. So, in this case, the ends of the democracy supposed to achieve justice, supposed to achieve development for all. It means the fair means towards the fair ends. This is the objective of Indian democracy. The fair means is giving voting rights to the people, and fair ends means providing for justice to everyone. In this context, the author quotes Jawaharlal Nehru's answer to it. There are two major challenges, that is, creating a just state by just means, and the second thing is maintaining secularism in a religious country like India. These are the twin challenges for the state of India. This is what Jawaharlal Nehru has stated. Now, further to it, the author argues that there is an excessive focus on, or the debate is majorly focusing on nationalism and secularism. But for a democracy, the most important thing is upliftment of the lives of the people. So, this is what the emphasis is on. The next article is encouraging secret donations. Now, let us see this way. In my class, I discussed to you two important things. One, if political system is cleansed and if elections are cleansed, the entire administrative system also gets cleaned. So, the root cause of the corruption in India, it lies in elections. If the vote becomes a commodity, then obviously the government becomes an agent to enrich itself and its political masters. So, in this context, vote shall be a responsibility, and above all, vote shall be a choice for a genuine mind. So, if vote is being sold, the democracy is a threat. In this scenario, how the vote can be bought? The corrupt proceedings or unaccounted money is the major reason. It means this cash roll has to come down. And the second, the political parties are getting the money, and how they are spending the money shall be clearly made to known for the citizens. So it means there has to be a clear transparency in the working of the political parties. So doing away with cash transactions and ensuring transparency create a win-win situation for democracy, both for political parties in the long run and also to the citizens. So in that scenario, electoral bonds were introduced. What are these electoral bonds? They look like promissory notes. They will come in various denominations. The denominations like 1000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakhs, 1 crore rupees. And which bank releases this? That is State Bank of India. And the person who submitted is no KYC standards or KYC norms. For him, these electoral bonds can be issued. When they will be issued, the first 10 days of every new quarter they will be issued. They can be encashed within 15 days by a concerned political party. It means I can go to my bank, that is, I can take my money and go and buy these electoral bonds in SBI. And then there will be no name on these electoral bonds. I can go and submit it to a concerned political party where I want to donate. And the political party also do not know in its records who have donated it. And when it deposits the money or that particular bond in election commission designated bank account, then the money is coming into their account. So through this, what is happening? The cash roll is being replaced by bank led transaction. To that extent it is good. Then what about the transparency? Either donor's name is not known, and also political party do not have any identity of the donor. That is what we are assuming. But see here, when I am going and giving the bonds, the political party can know my name, yes or no. And the second thing, here the secrecy is to such an extent it can promote the quid pro quo. So let me put it this way. The Companies Act and donations to the political parties were also relaxed by the existing BJP government. What they are doing? Previously, a company should have been established at least for 3 years and shall be in profits to donate to a political party to the maximum of 7% of its profits. Now, all these are done away with. I will go to a particular minister, I will talk to him my percentage, and then what I will do? Okay, if you give me this contract, this money will be given to you as an electoral bond. In a way, quid pro quo is encouraged or not? Now, election commissioner, no one knows. I am the person who is donating to the political party. So, that is, electoral bonds are becoming a legal way for corruption in politics. That is what is the fear expressed. And the second, before the court, the government argued that the electoral bonds are trying to protect something called right to privacy. So, this is what is being stated by the government, none other than the government. So, see here, the right to privacy given to the citizen is to protect his dignity against the state. And right to information was given to the citizen to protect himself with the choices, with the information about the government. Either it is right to privacy or right to information. These are meant to empower the citizens. One is to protect his dignity, other is to empower him with information. So, taking shelter for electoral bonds under right to privacy or under right to information is unwarranted. That is what is the essence of this article. For your prelims question, try to understand these particular points. So they come from 1,000 to 1 crore denominations. Only SBI can issue this, and the person who is buying the bonds have to be KYC compliant. And political parties shall get at least 1% of the votes and shall be registered with Election Commission under Section 29A of Representation of People's Act to be eligible for these are receiving money through these bonds. And there is no interest rate, and political parties are also exempted from the taxes for the money received on electoral bonds. For the prelims, please remember these points. Paradigm shift for TB control. You know that TB is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now, it spreads through air droplets when you are coughing or sneezing, or through the sputum. Now, in India, first National Tuberculosis Control Program has come up, and later expanded program of immunization has come into existence. Both of them have failed to achieve the intended results. Why? They majorly focused on treatment rather than controlling the infection from the very early stages. Later, revised National Tuberculosis Control Program has come up, and this program was able to control to an extent the spread of infection by focusing on the early treatment of the infected people. Let's take a person who is infected, and if he is in early stages, treatment is easy, and also we can cure the person and reduce the mortality. But RMTCP is also not very successful in contamination of the or containment of the infection. What is the reason? The pulmonary TB spreads through sputum, and then Latent TB exists in most of the people who got exposed to the TB patient. So that's why the TB patient, what he shall do? He shall have a health etiquette. What is that? So cover up your nose and mouth while you cough and sneeze, and then don't have any open chew or open throwing up, etc. And the second thing, the pulmonary TB need to be diagnosed early and treated. So here a latent TB is identified through a tuberculosis skin test. So when tuberculosis skin test is positive, that's a clear indication that that person got exposed to TB. Obviously, where he might get it exposed, let's take, if we are doing the skin test in children, there is a possibility that he gets exposed from an elderly person in the family. So that person can be identified, he can be treated, and the child also can be given the preventive treatment. So this is what is the essence of Thiruvannamalai model in Tamil Nadu. So the Thiruvannamalai model involves the people. If you remember polio vaccine, the Rotary movement was the most successful, and the success of this is involvement of the people. The same model is been applied with the TB now. And second, it is providing for behavioral education on health etiquette with regard to the sputum spitting of the sputum in open areas, or with regard to the covering of mouth and nose, etc. And finally, the early treatment is started to contain the infection or to make the patient free from being infectious to the others. So the tuberculosis skin test is able to diagnose the latent TB. This model is successful, that is called Thiruvannamalai model. And this article has come into the news for the reason that Prime Minister Modi declared that India will be TB free by 2025. The author argues that yes, we can be TB free, but achieving the target by 2025 may be difficult. There is an important suggestion in the article that the PHCs, primary health care centers, shall be actively involved in diagnosing and treatment of TB cases. Learning love from New Zealand. Now let's recollect few things. When Indira Gandhi died, killed by two armed guards, immediately there was communal violence. An irresponsible statement has come from the Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Now, the second incident. After every terrorist attack, we try to respond through a retributory violence against that community. And if you see the Godhra incident, there was a retributory violence against Muslims. The same happened against Sikhs. This is the story of India. Let us see the response from the New Zealand Prime Minister, how she tried to handle a terror event in her country through compassion and through sympathy. So, here, if we want to win the war on terror, it cannot happen through hatred. It can only happen through compassion. That is what this entire article talks about. Immediately after the attack, the Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, she has stopped all the propagation of hatred messages that can lead to reactionary or retributory violence. That message which was clearly sent is, we are alive, we are together, we are determined not let anyone to divide us. This is the message which she was able to send by sympathizing with victims and also sympathizing with the community which is getting blamed. That is what essence we need to understand. In India, other way around, we have got violence, or we have got retributory violence which was given preferences, and our leaders are also promoting the same. So either it is Prime Minister Modi's words after every terrorist attack, or in the case of the previous historical incidents in India, this is proven again and again. The next, delaying bad news. For example, if you have diabetes, if you ignore that you have diabetes and if you don't go to the doctor, is that a solution for your problem? No. So here, Indian banking system has to raise its accounting standards to the global level. Why is it necessary? If there is any disease or problem spreading in the banking sector, people or the system can immediately diagnose it and take the corrective steps. So in accounting standards, if they are being implemented in Indian banking system, diagnosis becomes early, and then we can quickly take the preventive steps and avoid a disaster from happening. So by 2018, Indian banks were supposed to implement Indian accounting standards of RBI. So if these standards were implemented, what will happen? The banks and their NPAs and their future vulnerability is clearly exposed, and the banks do not like it. And if the bank's vulnerabilities are exposed, then the government has to save them. Because to that vulnerability, provisioning has to be done. Finances has to be given to the public sector banks. Obviously, the government is not interested to take this burden now. That's why both of them are safely postponing the diagnosis of the problem. So again, the diagnosis is delayed, the problem becomes worse but not better. That is what is the point we need to understand. Balancing work. This is a report given by International Labour Organization. The report, what it states is, women suffer huge disadvantage because of their caregiving responsibilities, and this is causing a worrisome trend with regard to the gender inequalities are concerned. The report describes them as motherhood penalty and also as leadership penalties. Now let's take a woman and a man who are equally educated. Who is progressing better in the career? That is the man. The reason is the woman is stuck with many responsibilities which she has to hold together. So these penalties which are coming from unpaid caregiving work is one of the major reasons for gender inequalities. How shall it be overcome? The men shall share caregiving responsibilities from women, and the second, the burden which is being created on the women due to this unpaid work shall be shared by the state by providing the necessary compensation to them. Either of these two solutions will help to reduce the gender inequality. PSLV C45 project will make several firsts for ISRO. So what is the first thing which it is going to do? Different satellites are being placed in different orbits. It means that we are able to maneuver the satellite placement in the orbit like never before. There will be a lot of learning experience for India. And the second is, it is also serving a platform for space-based experiments. So that's why it has been stated that there are many firsts for the PSLV C45, which is going to take EMISAT mission into the space. Garibi Hatavo 2. India is a country of slogans. Indira Gandhi gave Garibi Hatao and won the power. And later, every party has created its own slogan, and this sloganeering has essentially led the party into the power. So, in this context, Mr. Rahul Gandhi is talking about providing for 72,000 of rupees per annum issued income for every Indian. It means the people who are not able to get this much of income will be substantiated by the state. So it is not universal basic income. Universal basic income means it shall be available to everyone. But this is only to certain categories of the people who fall below the levels of income of 72,000 rupees per annum. That is what Mr. Rahul Gandhi is proposing. And then let's recollect what all we read on 26th March 2019. The first article, the point of having democracy. Democracy shall provide for opportunities through capabilities. It has to improve livelihoods of the people. People are the ends of democracy. That is what it has been stated. We need to create a just state by just means. So it means providing for opportunities is the right way towards the progress of the society. Paradigm shift for TB control. So in this particular model in Tamil Nadu, there are two things we need to understand. Health etiquette and second, early diagnosis of latent TB. These are able to reduce the transmission of TB and elimination of tuberculosis from that particular district. Encouraging secret donations, what it says. The electoral bonds are not providing for the necessary transparency, and Essentially, they are providing or becoming can become the instruments for quid pro quo. Relaxation of the Companies Act for donations to the political parties can make it very conducive. Learning love from New Zealand. Take home point is this: we can win over the terrorism not through hatred but through compassion and sympathy. This is what the Prime Minister of New Zealand's behavior proved us. And delaying bad news. So, India has to implement Indian accounting standards as quick as possible. And delaying the diagnosis is not the answer for the problem. Early diagnosis provides an opportunities to control the damage. Balancing work. Gender inequalities are on rise. And this is majorly due to the caregiving job women are in. So it means that we have to ensure the sharing of responsibilities with men, or the state has to provide her with necessary opportunities for the career progress. And finally, Garibi Hatavo 2. So it is to provide for and secured income for the people whose income levels, per capita income levels, are less than 72,000 rupees per annum. So these are the articles for today. Thank you very much. Good day. Bye bye.